Hi, welcome. Enjoy the content, subscribe and turn on notifications. Nathan woke up that Tuesday with the feeling, that familiar coil, tightening in his gut. At 36, he'd learned to trust it. The same instinct that guided him through the complex HVAC systems of Denver's skyscrapers. A silent, internal alarm that told him when a connection was unstable. For months, that alarm had been ringing. Not at work, but here. In his own home. He sat at the kitchen island, the coffee black, the silence sterile. Listening. The faint sounds of Sophia, getting ready upstairs. Their marriage, he thought, had been a project. When he'd met her, she was ambitious, yes. Intelligent. But unpolished. He was the steady hand. The practical force that had helped shape her. Sophia, his 34-year-old wife, had always been meticulous. A trait he had once encouraged. Cultivated, even. He'd helped her pick the powerful suits. The understated jewelry that spoke of quiet confidence. He had, in his mind, built the foundation. He was the bedrock. She was the gleaming facade. But lately, the facade was changing. Without his input, the footsteps on the stairs stopped. He didn't look up. Not yet. He tracked the scent first. It wasn't the light, floral scent he'd bought her for their anniversary. This was different. Heavier. Musky. A perfume designed to be noticed. He finally raised his eyes. She wore a deep gray silk blouse that seemed a size too small. Clinging to her. A statement. Her pencil skirt. Tighter. Her heels. Higher. Making a sharp, unfamiliar click-clack on the hardwood floors. "Morning," she said. The smile bright, but fleeting. He didn't return it. He just watched. Every gesture seemed practiced. A performance. And he felt it. That familiar tightness in his chest. Resentment. And something dangerously close to loss. 12 years invested in this life. 7 as a husband. Grueling hours. His hands calloused and grimy. To ensure they had this. This house. This life. This platform for her career. And this woman. This stranger in his kitchen. Then felt like a betrayal of that investment. She was beautiful. He couldn't deny it. But the entire composition, the clothes, the perfume, the practiced smile. It wasn't for him. It was a uniform for another life. A life that felt entirely separate from his own. The realization didn't just hurt, it felt like an insult. He took a final, bitter sip of coffee. The alarm in his gut was no longer a quiet hum. It was a piercing scream. The name was Damien Vance. In the past month, that name had become an invasive species in their home. Choking the air. Nathan could chart the infestation. It started subtly. "Damien thinks we should pivot our Q4 strategy." Then, more personal. "Damien has this incredible vision." And lately, it was just constant. "Damien said the funniest thing today." Damien suggested this great new restaurant. Nathan had met the man once. A holiday party, 6 months ago. He remembered him. Vividly. Around 40. Slicked back hair. A watch that cost more than Nathan's car. The handshake was too firm. The look he gave Sophia lasted a fraction of a second too long. A predator in a $1,000 suit. Sophia had insisted he was a mentor. She'd also mentioned, almost as an afterthought, that he was supposedly divorced. Convenient. That evening, when Nathan got home, covered in dust, the wrongness hit him again. The house smelled of grilled salmon. A bottle of white wine was already open. Half empty. This was wrong. On every level. She never cooked on weeknights. Their routine was comfortable. Predictable. This felt like a guilty conscience. Trying to cook its way to absolution. "Hi, honey," she said. Her smile. Too wide. Too bright. "Had a quiet day. So I thought I'd make something special." He kissed her cheek. The wrong perfume, mingled with wine. He said nothing. Just went upstairs to shower, the water failing to wash away the grime he felt on the inside. At dinner, he watched her. Pushing food around her plate. Nervous. Filling her wine glass a third time. And then the words tumbled out. Rushed. Rehearsed. "So. I need to tell you something. She wouldn't meet his eyes. Damien needs me to go with him. On a business trip this weekend. To Santa Barbara. Nathan froze. His fork. Halfway to his mouth. Santa Barbara? It's a huge opportunity, she rushed on. Some major investors can only meet on Saturday, and he needs me there. It's crucial. He set his fork down. Slowly. The clink of metal on ceramic was the only sound. And where will you be staying? The Azure Crest Resort. The company has a corporate rate. A small, forced laugh. And before you ask, we'll be in completely separate rooms. It's just work, Nathan. Purely professional. And that was it. The lie. The premature defensiveness. The way her eyes darted everywhere, but at him. Something inside Nathan. Something that had been cracking for months. Finally snapped. He knew her. He knew the tremor in her hand as she gripped her glass. He knew the way she bit her lip when she lied. He was looking at a liar. When do you get back? His voice was flat. Sunday night. We leave Friday morning. That night, long after she was asleep, Nathan went to his office. He typed it in. The Azure Crest Resort, Santa Barbara. The website loaded. A symphony of romantic clichés. Private jacuzzis, candlelit dinners. The slogan, plastered over a sunset. Where romance is reborn. No mention of conference rooms. He scrolled through the reviews. The perfect honeymoon spot. Celebrated our 10th anniversary here. Nobody mentioned work. The ache in his chest burned away. Replaced by a cold, sharp anger. This was a calculated deception. He opened a new tab. Private Investigator Santa Barbara. It was perfect. At 2 a.m, fueled by coffee and a rage that felt clarifying. Nathan filled out the form. The reply from Frank Miller came at 8 a.m. Brief. Professional. Mr. Hayes, I received your inquiry. I know the resort well. My rate is $175 per hour. For a full weekend, the estimate is between $3,000 and $4,000. You will receive irrefutable proof. Nathan called him from his truck. Miller's voice was gravelly. Devoid of judgment. Are you sure you want to see this? Miller asked. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Nathan closed his eyes. Sophia's lying face. The burn behind his eyelids. I need to know the truth, he said. I need certainty. Then you'll have it. On Thursday morning, after Sophia left, he went into her office. It didn't take long. Tucked inside an old portfolio. The hotel reservation. His blood ran cold. One reservation. One presidential suite. And the booking was under the name. Mr. and Mrs. Damien Vance. The carelessness of it. The arrogance. He sent a photo to Miller. The reply was instant. They're getting arrogant. This will be easier than I thought. The first photo arrived Friday. 11 a.m., an image from the boarding gate. Sophia. Laughing. Her head tilted back. Damien's hand, resting on the small of her back. Possessive. Familiar. Nathan felt physically sick. The updates were relentless. A steady drip of poison. 1:15 p.m., just landed at SBA. Following. 1:25 p.m., they took a shared Uber. Confirmed. A photo. Sophia. Her shoulder leaning into his. 1:45 p.m., arriving at the Azure Crest Resort. Another photo. The two of them. At the check-in desk. Luggage side by side. 1:55 p.m. They entered the same suite. Ocean, facing. Presidential suite. As you suspected. Nathan stared at his phone. The brazenness of it all. 6:30 p.m. They just left the suite. Dressed for dinner. Heading toward the beach. An hour later. A short video. Shaky. But clear. Damien and Sophia. Walking. At sunset. He was holding her hand. The way she looked at him. Her eyes bright. Her smile unguarded. It was a look he recognized. It was the look she used to give. Only to him. A knife. Twisting in his heart. A final message from Miller. They seem very comfortable. Based on body language. I'd estimate this has been going on for at least a few months. This is not a new affair. Nathan dropped the phone. A few months. The pain was immense. But beneath it, something else was forming. Harder. Colder. Irresolve. He wasn't just a victim anymore. He was a man with a purpose. The pain of Friday night calcified. By Saturday morning, it became a plan. He didn't want a screaming match. That was messy. Uncontrolled. He wanted justice. Delivered with the cold efficiency of a surgeon's scalpel. Saturday was a torrent of evidence. Photos from a beachfront restaurant. Holding hands across a candlelit table. Her wiping a smudge of chocolate from the corner of his mouth. With her thumb. An intimate gesture. His gesture. 10 p.m. They're back in the suite. Curtains are drawn. Nathan didn't sleep. He sat in the dark living room. The glow of his phone the only light, as he methodically executed his plan. He called a lawyer. A man named Marcus Thorne. He drove to a 24-hour print shop. He paid extra. For the highest quality photo paper. 47 images. Sharp. Undeniable. He bought 3 large, empty suitcases. He returned home. And he began to pack. Her clothes. Her shoes. Her expensive skincare. Her books. He wasn't being cruel, he told himself. He was being practical. She had made her choice. He remembered Thursday night. Watching her pack for the trip. The new lingerie. The swimsuit. Bringing a swimsuit to a business meeting? He had asked. Sarcasm. Thick and bitter. She had laughed nervously. You never know. Lying in bed next to her that night, an impassable chasm between them. She had murmured, I love you. And for the first time in 7 years. Nathan had said nothing back. The silence was his first act of rebellion. Now, surrounded by the evidence of her deceit, he knew it was the right choice. He was severing the final thread. By 7 p.m. on Sunday, the stage was set. The 47 photographs were spread across the white duvet. A grotesque mosaic. Her 3 suitcases stood packed, waiting in the hallway. Nathan sat in the armchair in the corner. In the shadows. Waiting. He had rehearsed what he would say. Calm, controlled, clinical. But when he heard her key in the lock, a hot surge of rage boiled beneath the ice. He heard her footsteps. Hesitant now. Coming up the stairs. She walked into the bedroom, with a tired, contented smile. Hey, love. It was such a produce. Her voice died in her throat. Her eyes fell upon the bed. Nathan watched the color drain from her face. Her gaze darted from one photo to the next, struggling to process it. Her and Damien at the airport, at the hotel, on the beach, in the pool, photo after photo after photo. Nathan, let me explain, she whispered, her hands shaking violently. He rose slowly from the chair. His face a mask of icy calm. Explain, he repeated. His voice dangerously low. You want to explain how these photos are a lie? How the man you spent the weekend with isn't Damien? Your married boss? Oh. Did he forget to mention he reconciled with his wife 6 months ago? He paused. Explain how the presidential suite you shared. One suite, Sophia. Was just a booking error. Tears began to stream down her face. Nathan, I'm so sorry, it was a mistake. A mistake? He laughed. A harsh, humorless sound. A mistake is forgetting to pick up milk. This, he gestured to the bed, this is a series of choices. You chose to lie. You chose to betray. You chose to destroy everything. She stumbled toward him. Please. We can go to counseling. I'll end it with him, I swear. Don't touch me, Nathan said, his voice like ice. He took a step back. Don't you dare touch me with the same hands that were all over him. Sophia sobbed. Nathan, please. I love you. You love me? His voice finally rose. You love me? People who love each other don't do this. You don't love me, Sophia. You love the lifestyle. The security. But you don't love me. He pulled out his phone. Held up the screen. Before you lie again. I want you to know these photos have been sent. Her eyes widened in horror. Damien's wife, Catherine, Received the full package 2 hours ago. With the investigator's report. And your company's head of HR. Also received a complete file. Documenting every cent of corporate funds you used. The suite. The dinners. The champagne. It's called corporate fraud, Sophia. She collapsed to the floor. Sobbing. You've destroyed my life, she whimpered. Nathan knelt in front of her. Forced her to meet his gaze. I destroyed your life. Me? You destroyed your own life the moment you chose to do this. Do not put this on me. He stood. His icy composure returning. You have 10 minutes. Take what you can carry, and get out of my house. Your suitcases are in the hall. I have nowhere to go, she cried. That is no longer my problem, Nathan replied. The coldness in his voice surprised even himself. He glanced at his watch. 9 minutes. The silence, after the front door clicked shut, was deafening. Nathan stood in the hallway. Then, he walked back into the bedroom. He looked at the photos. One by one. He gathered them. His hands steady. He slid them into a large manila envelope. Then he sat on the edge of the bed. And he finally let it crumble. He cried. Deep, shuddering sobs that shook his entire body. Not just for the marriage, but for the 12 years invested. In a woman who, it turned out, had never really existed. But mixed with the grief was something else. Relief. A strange, clean feeling of justice. The weeks that followed were a blur of swift, brutal consequences. Damien's wife filed for divorce. He was financially ruined. At Sophia's company. An internal audit. They were both fired for cause. Gross ethical misconduct. Sophia's career evaporated. The community was small. The story spread. She tried to contact him. Voicemails. Emails. She even showed up at the house one Saturday. Nathan didn't answer. He deleted every message. And when she stood on his porch, he called the police. The divorce was fast. He kept the house. The savings. She walked away with her car. And a mountain of debt. 6 months later. Nathan was on a job site. A woman approached him. The project manager. Hannah. She had kind eyes. She was divorced, too. She understood. Not the details. But the sting. The rebuilding. They became friends. First. Building a foundation on honesty. Mutual respect. Things he now realized were non-negotiable. One autumn afternoon. Nearly a year later. He was driving home when he saw her. Sophia. Walking out of a discount grocery store. Struggling with 2 plastic bags. She looked smaller. Older. The designer clothes were gone. The weight of her choices, visible in the slump of her shoulders. For a brief, jarring moment. Their eyes met through the windshield. He saw recognition. Then pain. And then, for the first time, something that looked like genuine remorse. She lifted a hand slightly. A hesitant, aborted wave. Nathan just looked away. And kept driving. There was no anger left. Not even satisfaction. Only indifference. She was a stranger now. A character from a chapter of his life. That was now closed. He was moving forward. He had learned that dignity wasn't found in revenge, but in holding true to your own principles. He had learned that justice wasn't about destroying the person who hurt you, but about refusing to let them destroy you. The marriage was over. But he had survived. And in that survival, he had found a victory more profound than any revenge could ever offer. The victory of looking in the mirror and respecting the man who stared back. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss any updates. See you next.